All right, everybody. We're going to get right to it. It is Thursday night football. Of course, the Buffalo Bills taking on the Houston Texans. Week 12. We are already here, week 12. Unbelievable at how fast this season has gone. Of course, last week I was joined by a good buddy of mine, Carson, Wright. I love being able to chat football with good pals on this podcast, and it's always good to be able to talk to a buddy on the show. And without further ado, bring him on in here. Carson Wright, what's going on, my man?
Hey, can you hear me good?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Oh, it's going good. I'm hoping for a Bills win. And just to start off the pod in this way, I will never vote against the Bills ever again. I will even if I think in my head we have a chance of losing, I'm gonna say that the Bills are gonna win. So sorry to everybody, listening that I said that the Bucks were gonna win. So I won't do that again.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't trending in the right direction prior to that Bucks game, so I kind of understand where you're coming from with that. On this episode, obviously you got a little bit of a different thought process with the Buffalo Bills taking on the Texans. It was good to get back in the win column, no doubt about it. I'm happy that they were able to look the way that they did for the game. We got the fiance making a little bit of a cameo appearance, but I got some comments rolling in here. I'll go to the first one. And it kind of takes the words right out of my mouth. So, John, when we get to this, we're heading right to it. But Bills Texans, of course, we'll talk a little bit about the Bills Texans game. But John wanted to hop on with the comment and just get our overall take on Keon Coleman. Rumors are swirling. Good buddy of mine, Eric Turner of Cover One Sports. He believes that Keon Coleman is going to be inactive for this one as well. So what are your thoughts on that? A second straight week potentially where Keon Coleman could be inactive for second straight week in a row.
Yeah. To me, it's I can't stand the guy at this point. I just can't. Like,
did your opinion change after you watched his interview? Because mine did.
It changed. It not only changed, but when when I just found out, when I first found out that he wasn't going to be playing last week due to missing a meeting, I'm like, this guy's just immature. This guy, he doesn't hold himself accountable. He doesn't care. He. It's not even like it's Justin Jefferson where it's like, okay, frick, he missed a meeting. Now like that freaking blows, but we need him back. He sucks. He sucked. He has sucked. So there's not even a reason to even play him. Sit his ass on the bench and start Shavers. That's what you need to do. Play Shavers. And I know that we got a couple injuries. What's about Gabe Davis? I heard something about Gabe Davis.
Gabe Davis was promoted to the active roster again, so he will be active for this one. I'm assuming. I mean, active roster means that he's more likely than not going to be active. As well, there was some other news that came in. Mecole Hardman placed on the IR. Buffalo Bills elevated wide receiver Gabe Davis and tight end Kaliki Latu as they did last week. So I'm expecting the same group at wide receiver than what we had last week against Tampa Bay, which was Tyrell Shavers, Elijah Moore, Gabe Davis, Khalil Shakir, and maybe not Curtis Samuel. That could be like the only odd man out, as it's rumored that he's going to be out for this one. But they could end up with somebody else in there, and rather than Shavers. But at the very least, it's looking like second straight week in a row with no Keon Coleman, former second-round pick, only a year ago. I mean, if anyone, I mean, we've talked about this a lot. We've talked about this on the show. We've talked about it off the show as well. The whole notion that are the Bills doing enough to show the fan base that they're Super Bowl contenders, or have they come up short? If there's any way to kind of rectify or quote unquote send a message to the fan base that this is a different a different level, a little bit of a different time of this era. I would not be shocked if Keon Coleman was cut at season's end with all the stuff that I've been hearing and the disciplinary stuff that's been going on, and obviously the lack of production, as you alluded to. He's flat out stunk the joint up. He has not really done anything. And we've talked about, too, on the other side of that, the lack of trust in him. It's just not working out. There's so many different, parameters as to why this situation has progressed to the level that it has, or regressed to the level that it has, or devolved, however you want to word it. And I just don't think that he's in their long-term plans anymore. I think this signals that, okay, he was inactive last week. The offense looked really good without him. And why should we change it? If it's not broke, don't fix it, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's slow. He can be physical and maybe get a jump ball, but he's just not. I'm done with him personally. And a lot of people, I know a lot of people have different opinions on it, but I'm done. I'm done like sticking up for him. I'm done like, yeah, but he's a great guy. No, great guys don't act like he's acting. It's like,
right.
Well,
they really loved how he had the yellow winter coat, and he loved Wegmans cookies. We can't forget that.
Oh, but and on the sidelines last week before the game, he's dancing and having a good old fucking time. So it's just like, It's stupid. It's stupid. It's dumb. He's dumb.
It's embarrassing is what it is. I mean, they chose this guy, and bigger picture. They chose this guy over household, NFL names. Ladd McConkey, Xavier Worthy. They could have moved up even for BT Jr. if they really wanted to. They could have. I would have even taken like an Xavier Legette over this kid at this point, with all the bullshit that's kind of gone on these last few weeks, really this entire season. It's not just a 2-week process. It's just gotten to this point these last 2 weeks. So yeah, it's been very frustrating. But I trust the group that they have. I mean, to piggyback off of kind of my question, what did you think last week of the group that they did have out there?
Yeah, I think they played well. Like, and we got the ball moving around. Granted, I will say the Texans defense is a lot better than the Bucs. Like
the Bucs defense isn't bad though.
The Bucs defense isn't bad, but I think personally Texans are top 3 in the league in my opinion. So
with Denver and who else?
Denver and maybe like the Vikes or like or something,
Yeah.
But I mean, ultimately they're probably top 2 with Denver. So in my opinion. And so I think Tyrell, I know we're not to hot takes yet, but I think he gets over 100 yards today, actually. Hot take. But I think he goes for 100. I think he steps up again, and we'll see. Maybe I'd be completely wrong, but that'd be awesome. But yeah, I mean, they played well. Not having Kincaid, I mean, we had some people step up on that one catch from Samuel. It's like you made that harder than it had to be. Like
right,
crazy, but he at least caught it. But and Dawson Knox has to step up today. Not having Kincaid again, but ultimately, I mean, obviously, 44 points is a lot of points. So I mean, there's that. So
yeah,
they did okay. They did great, in my opinion. I hope they do it again because they need to.
As you were given that take, do you notice under your name what it says? Dude, I had under there Avid Hunter, and people were like, "What? Avid Hunter?" Like they didn't get it for some reason. I was like, "Oh my god, that's so funny." But yeah, I agree with you. The Houston's defense is really tough. We'll get into the keys to victory. Carson's got to go do some avid hunting stuff in a little bit here. The show will continue. I will be on, folks, so stay tuned. Stay on here. Once Carson hops off, I got a few things I got to say in regards to tonight's game, but I'll piggyback off of my statement there with the fact that, or your statement there, I should say, with the fact that Houston's defense is very good. So with that, let's get to some keys to victory for the Buffalo Bills tonight against the Houston Texans. What would you say would be something that you would hope to see in this game from the Bills?
Defense. I'm going to go back to defense. We got to stop the run. We can't just let Woody Marks run all over us. Nick Chubb run all over us. Like, we need to stop the run. And because Davis Mills, let's be honest, the dude is like mid. I mean, he's mid. He's not like crazy. I think if our DBs and cornerbacks play even decent, we'll win this game if we can stop the run. We got to stop the run. Terrible. It's terrible. It's the worst. I always start running backs. Whoever's playing the Bills, I'm like, yep, I'm going to start them. I hate to do it, but I have to. I mean, it's yeah, they need to stop the run. On offense, I would say feed James Cook. If that's not working, Josh, you just gotta be Superman again. It's just at that point. It's at that point where we don't have the greatest pieces around him. We're not amazing on the offensive side of the ball, like besides Josh, James Cook, and a couple others, but nothing too crazy. And Josh is just at that point where he's gotta be a little bit of Superman every game. So those are kind of key to victory, but hopefully James Cook gets involved early and gets cooking. So
yeah. There was a yard sign that a lady had around the corner from me, and it said, "When James cooks, everybody eats," which I had never seen that sign before, which I thought that's a really good point, though. Like, when James Cook gets the football, everybody else does really, really well. Everybody else seems to it opens things up. It's the old adage that the run game opens up the pass game. You got Josh Allen is the best player, I think, maybe even in the entire league. But on this team, there's Josh Allen, and who's the second best player on this offense? Definitely James Cook. So use James Cook to help Josh Allen, or use Josh Allen to help James Cook. Let them kind of feed off of each other. And I like a lot of the mix of plays that we saw from Davis, as well as Tyrell Shavers, who's a name that I'm going to highlight in my keys to victory. I want to see him out on the outside more. I thought that his speed was a little bit deceiving, and maybe it's just because we've watched Keon with a 4.740 speed, or 4.640 speed at best, compared to Tyrell Shavers, who's like a late 4.4 guy. You see the speed difference, and Tyrell Shavers is not small. He's a longer, lankier guy. So I want to see, Josh Allen get him involved early. I want to see Khalil Shakir get involved underneath. The one area of Houston's defense that's really broken down is their secondary. Their third string or nickel corner in this one is a guy that Isaiah McKenzie played against when McKenzie was with the Bills. That's a name that you guys remember. He torched him, 4 or 5 years ago, and it's the same guy. The name's not coming to me because he's not really that good, but I was shocked that he was still on the Houston Texans. I'll pull up the depth chart a little bit later and get to it, but if Isaiah McKenzie, could eat him up, and he's a good player, don't get me wrong, but I think Khalil Shakir is a far superior slot receiver to Isaiah McKenzie and maybe even, Cole Beasley at that point in Cole Beasley's career. So I think Khalil Shakir should get a healthy dose in this one. No Dalton Kincaid once again. So Dawson Knox is going to have to show, a little bit more than what he showed this past week. To be quite fair, I thought we'd see a little bit more from him last week than what we actually saw. But Dalton Kincaid out is a big one. He's a huge piece of this offense, whether people want to believe that or not. But defensively, man, you said it first. I want to acknowledge that the defense of the Buffalo Bills has been so infuriating for me. Like, the last 4 drives that Tampa Bay had, they couldn't get anything going. They couldn't get a first down. They couldn't catch a nosebleed. But the rest of the game, it was like tit for tat. Allen touchdown, Mayfield touchdown, Sean Tucker, who's a third string running back, looks like Walter Payton. Like, they're making these running backs that are just average at best look like they are the cream of the crop in the league, which is so infuriating to me. I mean, all the capital that they've invested in this defense, the defensive line, the linebackers, the money that they've spent on extending guys, and they still can't stop the run. That to me is far more concerning than whether they decided to keep Stephon Diggs 2-3 years ago now, and they don't have I mean, the whole wide receiver one thing is a valid, complaint. But this defense, man, they've invested so much draft capital in this defense for this defense to be this bad against the run, especially, and even against the pass too. Like, this defense has just not looked like a consistent, disciplined, defense, which Sean McDermott is kind of known for implementing that type of culture in his defense. At the very least, that's what got him a head coaching job. So what do you think are some of the pieces on the Houston Texans? You mentioned Woody Marks, Nico Collins, right? Even though Davis Mills is throwing the football, last season Nico Collins burned this Bills secondary. I'm a little bit worried about him.
He might do it again. Although we have Max Harrison, can he just like be
shut it down? Yeah.
One on Nico Collins, like follow him all over the field. Like, he needs to be on him because, in my opinion, he's our best cornerback. If Trey White is on Nico Collins, we're gonna get destroyed. Like, what in the pass game? I mean, like, Nico's gonna torch him. It's not even gonna be close. So I mean,
Christian Benford should be good to go. I would be shocked if he wasn't. I haven't heard anything about Christian Benford, and keep in mind the inactive report comes out usually like an hour before the game. We're about an hour and a half. So I haven't heard anything, Christian Benford wise, but man, if he's not in this one, that's a huge, huge deal. Cause then, to your point, Trey White would be out there and he would be lined up on Nico Collins or even some of their other, guys like Xavier Hutchinson. They've got some names on this offense that haven't really shown up yet, but they're young and they're fast, man. They're a fast pace, skill position type offense.
Yeah. I definitely think that our secondary has to show up. I am gonna have to jump off here, but
yeah. Score prediction before you head out. Score prediction and X factor. Takeover player.
I'm saying Josh Allen. I think he throws for 2 tuds and runs for 2. So I think he's gonna do it again. And I think score prediction, I think we get him 38. It's gonna be. I think we're gonna put up a lot on it. Even though Houston's good, I just think that Josh is just gonna have one of those games. Maybe I won't go 38, but I will go 34 to 17. I don't think
that was mine. That was my score prediction this morning when I hopped on. Yeah,
34 to 17. We win. And by quite a bit, because I just don't think David, they might get a score or 2, but it's not gonna matter. So that is my thoughts.
All righty, man. Well, thanks for hopping on. Happy hunting. You go find those deer.
Yes, appreciate it.
All righty, see you, dude. All right, that was Carson Wright, good buddy of mine. I've had him on the show a time or two. I've really enjoyed just having, buddies to talk football with just on the show, just casual, fun conversation. I've interviewed everybody from football coaches, NFL coaches, NCAA coaches, NFL players, NCAA players, agents, reporters, beat writers, you name it. I've been able to really pull together the who's who over the last 10 years. Sometimes I just want to talk football with a buddy. That's allowed, right? I'm allowed to kind of just kick back and talk shop with a buddy. So really great to be able to do that. I appreciate him coming on. I got a lot of takes to fire away in regards to this game and in regards to a lot of things. I haven't had the chance to really, kick back and just let it fly in terms of some of my takes. I'm going to get to some comments here. Ken Zintel referring to Keon Coleman, stating that he may not be the greatest on the field, but don't trash the guy. He may have mental problems we aren't aware of. We're judging Keon Coleman as a player. This is not a Disney movie. We're judging Keon Coleman based on what we've seen on the field and a little bit off of it. I'll be honest with you. I always embrace these guys. Whenever they're picked by the Buffalo Bills, I embrace them. You go back 2 years ago, I just moved into the place I'm living in now, and I had a dry erase board, and I wrote on that dry erase board, Ladd McConkey no matter what. That was what I wrote. Okay, and I posted the photo on Facebook, right? I posted the photo on Facebook, and it got a lot of, and Twitter actually, and it got a lot on Instagram, right? Social media. It got a lot of traction. People saying, oh, Ryan, why would you want them to go out and get a smooth route runner when they've already got a few of those? Well, one more wouldn't have hurt, right? But they didn't do that. They decided to trade down, and at 33, they took Keon Coleman. When one pick later, Ladd McConkey went 34th. And Ladd McConkey's, the wide receiver one of the LA Chargers. Justin Herbert would probably say to himself, if I didn't have this kid, I'd probably be, running for my life and getting crushed. This guy really helps me out. This guy's a guy that I can lean on and be a safety. He can be my safety valve. Josh Allen doesn't have a safety valve. There is no safety valve on this offense. I'd like to think that Dalton Kincaid was expected to be that guy, but he's too far in and out of the lineup due to injury that Josh Allen hasn't been able to develop the rapport with him that I had hoped that he would, that I thought he would by now. We've seen it in bits and pieces, but we haven't seen it consistently. Keon Coleman, on the other hand, they bring him in after the fact, a year after Dalton Kincaid. And the reputation of the player, not as a person, but as a player, was that he couldn't separate. He can't go deep down the field. He's not a burner. He's not an Xavier Worthy. He's not a smooth route runner like Ladd McConkey. What is he? Okay, well, he's a very physical guy. Florida State moved him around. They didn't leave him on one side of the field like Joe Brady has. I talked about that last week. For all the criticisms that we have of Keon Coleman and his lack of production, Joe Brady hasn't exactly used him in a variety of ways. He's used him in one narrow way, which is a slight and a negative on his play calling ability. Because a coach's job, I've learned in coaching, is that your job is to put your players in the best position to succeed. If I see that someone is struggling in one spot on the field, I'm going to move them to another spot of the field. I'm not just going to leave that guy there for more than a year and hope that that guy gets better. Now, there's a name that kind of sounds familiar to Bills fans when we talk about Keon Coleman. Does anybody remember Kaiir Elam? If not, they should definitely remember who he is. He's a former first-round draft pick that the Buffalo Bills drafted to be a man-to-man corner in a defense that is primarily a zone 4-2-5 Sean McDermott, bend but don't break defense. Now, I'm not saying Kaiir Elam was great during his time here, but he wasn't exactly put in the best position to succeed. So I would also say that Keon Coleman thus far has not been put in the best positions to succeed. But on the flip side of that, the response to not being put in the best position to succeed, attitude-wise or personality-wise or persona-wise from Keon Coleman has also been the wrong response, in my opinion. I would venture to guess, too, that this happened a little bit with Stephon Diggs, where Stephon Diggs wanted to win important playoff games and had enough of coming up short. Did he necessarily handle that the right way? No. Did he have a point? Yes. When Josh Allen is entering year 9 next year, and if we don't get there to where we need to go this year, we can say Josh Allen's been in this league for heading into his 9th season, and he's never played in the Super Bowl. So that's a failure. And it's a failure that they drafted Kaiir Elam. I'll say Keon Coleman. It's a failure as well that they drafted Kaiir Elam, and within a couple years he was traded for a bag of peanuts to the Dallas Cowboys. and playing games. Not that he's lit the world on fire, but that's a failure investment. This is a failure investment thus far as well. And I say thus far, do I believe that this could be rectified? I believe it should be attempted to be. I don't know if it will be. Is the damage done? Is the relationship between Keon Coleman and the Bills already, kind of severed? I don't know. So only time will tell on that. Only time will tell on that. Using a guy one way as a left side of the field 50-50 guy when he's not 6'4", he's not 6'3", he's 6'2", barely, and he's not fast. It's just not. It's not going to consistently work when you use a guy one way. And he's not Mike Evans, right? He's not Mike Evans. He's not AJ Green. He's not Julio Jones. All of those guys ran sub 4.3, sub 4.4 40s, and Keon Coleman ran like a sub 4.6 40. So those little things are why the NFL scouting combine exists, why those specific drills exist, whether it's the vertical, which made Keon Coleman look really good, or the 40, which put Keon Coleman as a second-round draft pick. I don't want to speculate on his mental health. I don't think that that's really necessary to the conversation. These guys are professionals. It's more than well aware of what they need to do in order to be reliable professionals in the National Football League. If you are not, just ask Ryan Leaf, just ask Jamarcus Russell, just ask every NFL bust or flameout why it didn't work out for them. A lot of it has to do with their work ethic, not necessarily their talent. So, or lack thereof. They were talented players. Ryan Leaf was a talented player coming out of Washington State. The Colts went down to the 11th hour, so to speak, to decide whether they wanted to pick him or Peyton Manning. Bill Polian decided Peyton Manning was my guy. Looking back, there was a decision to be made there, believe it or not. The Oakland Raiders at the time, the then Oakland Raiders, of course, they decided to draft Jamarcus Russell over Calvin Johnson, right? These decisions that are made by some of these teams over the better part of the last, 50 years, every team has made some bad decisions. The team that we're talking about here, the Buffalo Bills, they've made bad decisions in this era that we're living in right now and in previous eras, which was why they missed the playoffs in large part for the last 17-year, that 17-year stretch. Not getting the right players, not getting the right coaches, not running the right schemes with the players that they had, et cetera, et cetera. I could go on with this kid. Listen, I liked the personality. I liked the moxie. I liked the attitude. I liked what he brought to the table. And I could see what they liked in terms of what he brought to the table. But what he's bringing to the table right now is nothing. He's not bringing anything to the table. He's not being relied upon as a pro. So that is a very scary outlook on what his future holds. And bad picks do happen. They do happen. But it sets you back. This pick, as of right now, set back the Buffalo Bills. It forced them to have to go back to go forward. Anything that makes you go back and get old players that used to play here that they chose to let go sets you back, right? So that's my overall assessment of Keon Coleman. The saga continues. Will he play next week? I don't know, but we'll see. It's a very interesting situation. So Buffalo Bills keys to victory for me. Talking about this obviously a little bit with Carson. This Bills defense is really underwhelming for me this season. There's only been a few positive investments that this defense has made on the field and off of it. One of them is Joey Bosa. I think Joey Bosa could have a really good game today. I think Joey Bosa's got the capability to get after Davis Mills, pressure him, hurry him, force him, rush him, get to him, sack him, all the above. We got pressures, hurries, sacks, right? I think Joey Bosa could do all the above. Maxwell Hairston, Carson said Maxwell Harrison. It's Maxwell Hairston, rookie out of Kentucky, obviously heavily relied upon for our Buffalo Bills. We need him to be locked in, focused, and ready in this one, going up against one of the better, younger receivers in the league, and Nico Collins. Despite the fact that Nico Collins has Davis Mills throwing him the football, he's still a dynamic talent. He's still a big, strong wideout that can really break one deep. And I'm really excited to see Hairston in this element, actually. Like, when I watch this game tonight, I'm going to be keyed in on that. I'm going to be looking at that matchup. I'm going to be looking at a guy that is green on the NFL field versus a guy that is, really rose up the ranks as a great young under 25. I like to call him under 25 wideout. I believe in Nico Collins, maybe under 26 at this point, but nonetheless, a very fun matchup in this one. And then obviously the turnover battle. The Bills cannot give Davis Mills more possessions than necessary. So takeover player of the game, obviously, takeover player of the game is a guy that I think will have a phenomenal night. It's easy to say Josh Allen. The stat sheet, is very, very kind to him in terms of the record books. He's one rushing touchdown away from breaking the all-time record, which is held by the diva with the weird hat on First Take, Cam Newton. 75 career rushing touchdowns, tied Allen and Cam Newton, obviously. One more, and he passes one of the strangest wardrobe choice TV personalities I've ever seen. I had to throw that out there. I had to go there. Look up Cam Newton on First Take. The hats, I don't quite get what look he's trying to go for. That's just not my thing. But hey, whatever works. Takeover player of the game, Khalil Shakir. You heard me mention it earlier. The secondary of the Houston Texans is banged up. You got a horrible graded slot corner covering Khalil Shakir, one of the better slot receivers in the game. I'm going Khalil Shakir. I'm going 8 catches for over 100 and a touchdown. So all those DraftKings, MGM betters, whatever site you use, Caesars. I like to use Caesars, to be honest with you, but whatever sites you guys decide to use, take some Khalil Shakir, prop bets or whatever. I think that's pretty safe tonight. And then obviously the score prediction. Carson said 34-17. I am going to go 35-21. Bills 35-21. That's going to be my final score prediction. So Bills keep the win streak rolling, right? That'd be 2 games in a row, one against Tampa, one against Houston, 2 wins in 4 days is not a bad way to head into pre-Thanksgiving weekend, right? So there you have it. I'm Ryan Thomas. That was the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. This was a presentation for you, the Bills Mafia.